What is the conspiracy? We hear conspiracy a lot these days. We hear conspiracy theory, and people don't really know what this means. They get images of crazy people raving with tinfoil hats. We don't really see them unless it's some kind of a comedy movie, some kind of a farce. But we're given this image. Conspiracy theorists are somehow nuts, and if you're a part of the respectable mainstream, you don't pay this any heed. Like, George Bush said, Jr., right, said, let us not listen to outrageous conspiracy theories. I think that's what he said, right? Well, there is this other idea out there. There is this other story that is different than what the educational system tells you, than what religions tell you, than what the media tells you. Movies are very interesting because there can be a lot of enlightening ideas, but then because they're in a movie, we might discredit them on that basis, saying, well, that's just a cartoon, that's just a movie, it's just a story, and then discredit it that way. So, what is the alternate picture? What is this other idea that so many of us don't entertain until something jars us, something happens where it's like, my God, right? Where we hear something, we experience something that shakes us, and we go, wait a minute, maybe all these things that I've been believing all along are not correct. Maybe I have been lied to. Maybe I have understood something. Misunderstood something? I hope that's what I said. So what is the conspiracy? Well, there are a whole bunch of different conspiracy theories about different things, but they all seem to feed into one overarching view. And this view is, there is a power elite on this planet which has been in power. It's a family, basically. It is a bloodline. That's why this whole idea of the bloodline is very important to the folks in power. The story goes, there is a continuous bloodline of rulers, of people who are in power, who manipulate events into being, which can be traced back, more or less, all the way back to the oldest civilizations, such as Mesopotamia, Sumeria, all the way back there. And then you can follow that path of power, of control. It goes from the Middle East to Egypt to Greece to Rome, Italy, then then to Europe, and Spain, France, they had their day. Great Britain, Germany had its day. Now it's North America, Russia as well. So all these things and all the royal houses, they intermingle and stuff. But the idea behind all this is if we think they're in power, if they're on the public stage, shown to us as being in power, that's not them. Because the real power, the real people pulling the strings, they don't reveal themselves. They always have a front man. I believe there's a Russian saying about a red cardinal, a black cardinal, there's always somebody behind. I don't know. Anyway, so whoever gets put in front of us as the person who is in power, so we focus on them, and if we don't agree with things, then we blame them as well, and we are split up into different groups with different leaders, like different factions of the church, right? The Catholics versus the Protestants and against the Muslims, or one nation against another nation, one race against another race, whatever, like one political party against the other political party, whatever means can be found to get us to focus on physical events and to identify with physical traits. I mean, the color of your skin, it's one of the most blatant ones and one of the most idiotic things to get caught up on. I'm white, you're black, or you're whatever color you may be, right? I'm blue, you're green. Therefore, I must fight you. Therefore, I must suppress you, enslave you. Therefore, you don't get the same position within society that I do. Heinous. And it's so okay. The overarching idea is there's a power elite. They have been in power for a long time, and they will do anything to keep themselves in power, in wealth, in comfort. So if this means abusing, that's a very broad term, you can go into detail, like torturing or killing or poisoning, you can use all these kind of terms. If that means, in order to keep yourself where you are in the power that you are, that you must abuse the human race or animals or the planet, then so be it. And there is this group out there. And also this group, that is the overarching story. That is the one half of it. The one half is a power elite is manipulating you. As you sit here listening to this, everything that you've been taught, yes, there are systems in place, science has its own checks and balances, so does the media and stuff. However, the really important stuff, the really big ideas, they get pushed down. The scientists that say, you know what, actually the planet isn't warming up at all, and all this stuff about global warming isn't true, right? It's not caused by carbon dioxide. Some of them say it, right? This whole idea of ClimateGate revealed that the pressure and the manipulation that was employed to get this idea through, because this was the popular idea. This was the idea that the source of the money wanted, and it supported that. And this is often how we can tell these things. Wherever all the money goes, all the financial backing, it goes to one idea to the exclusion of another idea. So that's part one. Part two is, and this goes, the first part, you can convince yourself of this just by scratching the surface, doing some research. You find out that there are events are being manipulated, you're being lied to. Wars are started by what is referred to as black flag operations, which basically means is a group in power wants a war. They need a war in order to perpetuate their power, gain more wealth, gain land, whatever the excuse may be, whatever it is that makes them powerful and will keep them in power. They want a war. But the people, no citizen wants a war. They don't want it. So what do? You have to stir their emotions. You have to build them up, get them angry, and then give them a place to focus that anger. Or anger is actually just a kind of echo of fear, because first there's fear, and then you get angry at whatever is making you what you think is the source of your fear. So you have a black flag operation. Basically, what you do is you sink one of your ships with a couple of hundred of your people on it. You bomb a city of yours, and you blame it on somebody else. It's been done in the Hitler burned down the Reichstag building and then blamed it on, I guess, a Jewish person. This one's well known. Vietnam, I believe, was predicated by the sinking of some passenger liner, which now is documented, never even existed. It never even existed. It's just a story. You put it into the papers. Nobody verifies it. The story just gets passed down the line. The news reader just reads the news. So, first idea is group in power, and they are not. They're not on your side. They're using you as best they can to keep themselves in power. That is the idea. First idea. Second idea is that you, listening to this, you are not a physical being, primarily. You have a body, you're in a body, but that is not what you are. You're actually a spirit, a spiritual being. And you are the eyes, the hands, the ears, the extension of one consciousness, a single universal consciousness. The word God might be applied to this, but that word is so heinously abused, just like the word love. These things, they get used in so many ways and abused in so many ways, they become meaningless, right? But you can say there is one source and we're all a part of it. So asking what is the conspiracy is very similar to the movie The Matrix. Powerful ideas in that movie. And the question, what is the Matrix? You're in it every day. You are born a slave to a prison you cannot taste or touch or feel. I'm not quoting it quite correctly, but that is the essence of it. You can see it when you look out your window. You can see it when you pay your taxes or feel it. So you are inside of a matrix. Literally, you are in a matrix. It's not a perfect parallel. There are many aspects of the movie that I don't think apply to the way our reality works. But here you go. And all the different conspiracy theories out there, you can get into the pyramids. They're actually much older than we think they are. They're not actually tombs. There was a global civilization. They all built pyramids, all with these enormous blocks of stone. Why? The world over. And they're ancient. And you can tell their ages, by the way, because so many of them are aligned with constellations. It's usually the constellation Orion or the constellation Sirius. Why these constellations? Why are pyramids in South America aligned with the same stars, with the same constellations as pyramids in Egypt and pyramids in the Middle East? On it goes. You have to ask yourself these things. Why are they constructing these things with stones that are so huge that, yes, it is the most solid way to build. It's excellent. It lasts for thousands and thousands of years. Right. But we don't do that, even though we have all this technology. Why don't we build so that things last longer? Ask yourself this. How come these people that apparently didn't even have metals, didn't even have the pulley, apparently, right? Why did they construct this way? The world over. Doesn't it seem there is a global culture that is actually advanced in many respects? That's just like there's one example of conspiracy theories, right? Theories about the CIA peddling drugs and weapons. You know what? That's not even a theory anymore. You can find a lot of evidence for that. UFOs, aliens, very interesting ideas here. You have all these ideas. 9/11, of course, this is the big one. This is the one that woke me up, or that alerted me to, wait a minute, there's something else going on here. That was a black flag operation. The official story is just ridiculous. Now, there is a ridiculous theory, if I've ever heard one. Pancake effect. Got people with box cutters, making all this happen. These buildings falling the way they did. Ask yourself, why haven't you heard of building number 7? That's the third building that fell. No plane hit that, right? It fell exactly the same way. There's video footage of it. Go to YouTube if you don't believe me. Type in building number 7. You'll find reams of information. You may ask yourself, if all these things are true, why haven't I heard about this? Why doesn't it make the news? Why don't scientists speak up? Well, you know what? Many, many people do. But what happens to them? They lose their jobs. The scientist no longer gets funding, becomes a rogue scientist, becomes some speaker in the New Age circuit, in the conspiracy circuit. And that's what happens to you, right? You wake up, and it doesn't serve you in this world, because suddenly you will find yourself pitted against the system. The system suddenly no longer supports you, and you may go, wait a minute. There's something going on here. We've been lied to. Our history isn't what we're told it is. Our level of technology really isn't what we think it is. The human being isn't what we're told. There's so much more. There are near-death experiences. There's out-of-body experiences. What are these things? What are psychedelic experiences? The real ones. The real powerful ones. The only way you'll ever know that, go and have one. Look into ayahuasca. Spelled ayahuasca, like AYAHUASCA, or other. That's a very powerful one. Look into it if you're interested. There are ways that you can learn these things firsthand, but you have to be curious first. Something has to wake up, and maybe this recording is what'll do it for you.